Hello, hello, my green skins. I'm here with Dark Shaningan, and we're finishing off X-Men Evolution with a spoiler episode. This is the last bit of you're not going to hear about us talking about X-Men Evolution after that for a little bit. Might come back to it. But the reason I did the podcast like this, and the reason we kind of did it like this, one, we're worried about YouTube's, kicking us off for doing this. That's why there's no little jump scenes of characters and stuff, so certain groups can't hit us. Two, X-Men Evolution is starting to get a cult following, but I want to do a complete everything, like every season, like a complete breakdown, and no one's done that yet. So overall, this is actually our complete. This is the complete finishing touch of a series. Like, this is from start to finish. There's no one else has done it, and there we go. All right. So as a whole, now that you've watched it, now that we can actually talk openly about it, what did you think of X-Men Evolution?
Well, things I'm about to say in this video are going to make hardcore X-Men fans want to crucify me upside down.
Uh-oh, go for
But
it.
I think this is a great show. If you're not a hardcore X-Men fan like me, like I'm not a big fan. I'm not the biggest fan of the whole franchise. I'm not
Oh
eager
yeah, I'm
to.
dragging you into
Yeah. So
this.
coming into this as a casual viewer. I'm not excited to see any new movies. I don't care about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I just don't care. So, but this having this being made in the 2000s, a different era for reasons I'm not going to get into, gives me an open mind. But yeah, as a casual, this show is amazing. I was enjoying every episode, even the fluff episodes, the filler episodes, and filler moments were really fun because it never got dull. The characters were very well written. They were nice. They were funny. They were enjoyable. So, uh, yeah, this show was well written, and the writers. I feel like the writers in the show knew that they had to. They knew they could not compete with the original series, which I
No,
don't know.
right, no.
Yeah. So they thought, you know what? Let's do the best we can with new ideas because we know that no matter what happens, fans of the old series were probably not going to like this. At least I'm assuming that's the mindset because that's usually the case.
Yeah, that's pretty much a two. Anything after a certain 2000 mark, that's pretty much the case. Oh, there's something new. Oh, we automatically hate it.
Yeah,
And that's
because
the funny thing about that. Yeah, that's the funny thing about this, right? Like, that's kind of the amusing thing. This is actually one of the few shows where a lot of people are like, yeah, it's not bad, it's okay, it's pretty good. And this brought in a character that a lot of people don't know, X-23. This is the series she actually showed up in.
yeah, this was her
Lorna.
first appearance, right? The
Yeah.
one she would later appear in Logan.
Yeah, she also, I think this is the first appearance of Spike, and this might also be the first appearance of Wolfsbane.
I think Spike, from what
So,
I've read, or I might have misunderstood, was written for this series and eventually became a character in the comics. I don't know.
yeah,
You might be more knowledgeable about that than me.
I actually, again, I kind of tuned out after 2000s for X-Men. I got to a point where I'm recollecting my comic collection due to a certain horrible incident, but it basically, as I'm recollecting, I'm probably going to stay in the 80s and the 90s. That's where I kind of picked up comics. And there's so much comics. I'll never run out of material to read. so I'm pretty much going to stay there. I'm not going to probably go past a certain point, but from my knowledge, I think this was the series he came from. Like, they've all come from, and it was really well done.
Yeah,
And overall, yeah, Jesus hell, like, what else can you say about a series that actually, like, did a good? I thought they did an amazing thing for Wanda from Scarlet Witch. I think her story arc was really well done, and it's kind of a fucked up story arc if you think about it, because of, like, how they did it. Like, it's just kind of fun. Every the whole series is just kind of weird. as a whole.
I
Go
think, well,
ahead.
my favorite attribute of this series is obviously Wolverine, fan favorite, but this particular series iteration is very different as far as I can tell from others because he's still a badass, but
Yeah.
because most of the cast is young and he's supposed to be like the guardian or the mentor, he feels
Mm.
like a dad to those kids, and this is something I cannot imagine Wolverine of the '90s show being like at all.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. Wolverine is actually, a lot of people seem to think of Wolverine. If you take it from the core thoughts, he's an unstrategic, running around brute. And that's how they kind of portray him. The guy actually has a heart. The guy actually can think, can operate, can control. He's not a complete idiot.
Well, I'm not saying
Like,
he's an idiot.
so,
It's just the first series he was prone to anger. He was unstable.
well, no,
This one
they kind of do that.
he was
They
balanced.
kind of, no, that's the thing. They kind of do that for the series. They kind of do that to a lot of the series, actually. A lot of stuff, like if you watch the movies, he's really is just a running around screaming brute.
Yeah, flying
It's
around in invisible wires.
Yeah, pretty much. Where Wolverine was tactically intelligent, like again, and it was technically, well, which is going to lead on to our next show, X-Men and the Wolverine. He was the leader. He was the one that devised the plan that took out Apocalypse. It wasn't Professor Xavier. It wasn't Magneto and his overwhelming power. It was fucking the guy with adamantium claws that everyone thinks is a fucking hothead brute. And that's what made him good. And overall, the voice acting in this was so fucking well done. I like the character art too. It's a really well done series. Like, Jesus fuck, like we need more like this. Like, America needs to put up its dukes a little bit more when it comes to stuff.
Well,
Japan has pretty much wiped the market, and this show proves that if you actually put time and effort, like it was like the original X-Men. It's the original X-Men 2.0. Like, I think this was so well done, and it depresses the fuck out of me that I haven't seen anything recently from cartoons that makes me go, oh yeah, this is great. This is perfect. Like, overall, I'm enjoying this.
what
Like,
about
to start the finish.
what about American cartoons that are posing as anime, like those Netflix original shows, which are clearly
Well,
they're American
that
sponsored and financed and written, but they either emulate
well,
the
that's
animation
the
look or
thing.
they
That's
hired Japan to make them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, look at Avatar: The Last Airbender. As much as I love Avatar: The Last Airbender, it's not American in any way, shape, or form. It's not this side of the pond. It's a great fantasy. But it does have its problem. That's why they used to call it anime light. Like, a lot of hardcore anime fans who don't like who didn't give anime Avatar a fair break. It's called anime light. And I don't. I still think it's a beautiful show, but I'm kind of sad that this is what we're dealing with when it comes to some of this stuff, and it's just overall a great show, and it's sad to see something like this. Like, we had the story of, and they finally did something that no other show does, because they didn't end the season on freaking Phoenix.
Oh, they alluded to it.
They alluded to it. Like, I'm happy they didn't, but like they ended on the Apocalypse Saga, which was interesting because I don't remember Apocalypse wanting to advance humanity. I remember Apocalypse wanting to control and basically turn humanity into his personal slaves. So I don't ever remember him having this mentality of conquering, because like in the future, if you do the comic books, in the future technically did conquer all of mankind. Like, he ends up being the ultimate ruler. But it's just like they did kind of go in a different route with him. They turned him into someone that was actually a little bit more fun for that. And then they had a great series. Like overall, this was just really well done. The mutation of Spike's mutation was kind of cool that they actually show a mutation going out of control
Oh,
and
that was
someone turning
freaky.
into a monster. Yeah, he turns into a monster. Like that's impressive. Like they actually show that this guy can't transform back out. He's he's permanently trapped.
Yeah.
And that's a scary thought if you think about it. Like, could you imagine all of a sudden growing? Like, I know some people like, oh, that'd be cool. It's like, yeah, I don't know, growing giant plates of flesh and marrow on your body like that. You just kind of no, don't really. And we haven't seen that in the series. Like, we've seen people like Nightcrawler deal with it, but you know, and even like I said, the fluff episodes, like the episode where like the parts like there are B plots in the later seasons, and there's some good fluff episodes. There's also some amazing episodes where it's just like the Wolverine when they talk about Wolverine and Weapon X, like in the first season. I believe it was the first or second season where they have Shadowcat and I think Shadowcat and Nightcrawler go with Wolverine. That like and Wolverine kind of snaps. That was a good one.
Um.
Yeah, the Storm episode, where Storm has to deal with her tribe. That also never got resolved, which really pissed me off. But
I guess if
because they
there's,
never really did go back to that, eh?
I guess if there's one episode that I felt was completely unnecessary, even by fluff episodes. Now that I remember it, is the one where Kitty finds this girl. What's her name? Danielle Moon something, whatever her name is.
Yeah, I do agree. I do agree that episode's a little like I'm not okay. Let's bring it up right now. I think it's a cool character, but then she never appears again.
Yeah, it
So
was
it
towards
just
the end.
like yeah, she doesn't even show up at the end. Like this cool character that can apparently psychically affect Professor Xavier and fuck with his head. Like that's a pretty powerful telekinetic. That's someone that can create like have your nightmares come true. That's a pretty dangerous telekinetic, like telepath. And there she is. Sorry, telekinetic. I apologize.
But
And here's this powerful character, and she just vanishes after the after the episode.
yeah, it's like, what's the point of introducing a new character towards the end in your season finale when you're just not gonna do anything with her? You may
Well,
as well just.
isn't that the episode just before the season finale?
I think just before the two-part finale. Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't bring in Forge for that either. That's another one. They bring Forge in once and then they never bring him in again. And I'm like, no, like that Forge should have been there the entire fucking time. And I feel like they just kind of dropped the ball there.
Okay, can we talk about the Brotherhood for a moment?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I think they are really cool characters. They provide the best comic relief, but also the most at least for a couple of the characters, some of the most interesting backstories. Like Quicksilver
Yeah, I
and
never
what's his name? The one who makes earthquakes.
Avalanche,
Yeah,
Lance.
Lance. Yeah.
Do you know this is the only series I actually remember who Avalanche is? Also, I think Avalanche is Polish, if I remember correctly, or Ukrainian.
They
I'm
never
not sure
said
if
in
they
the
switched
show,
them up. Yeah, they never said in the show, but I remember always having having an accent in later shows, whenever he made an appearance.
but Lance, I like that. This show was a lot more than just cool action scenes. I like that there were some personal character moments, like there were some romance moments. Like Kitty and Lance. That was nice to look at.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty interesting idea. They actually had a really cool, like, because Kitty Pryde usually, I think her relationship tie was with Colossus. She actually got married to Colossus, I think, in one of the comics.
But wasn't
But yeah,
I remember early, or I could be yeah, early on. I think there was Nightcrawler had a thing for Kitty, but apparently that got scrapped, or just they just dropped it at some point. So there could have been
Yeah,
a love
it
triangle
did.
thing going on.
Yeah, it did. It really did, and it's kind of interesting that they did that. And they kind of, well, it's weird how they did the kitty thing. The kitty thing was, it kind of got dropped, but kitty, they never really incorporated that. And then they really focused on Lance and Kitty, which actually was a good idea. That they kind of gave a reason for them to do what they did.
Yeah, they built them
And
up very well. And I like
Mhm.
the Brotherhood, how they were also built up, because they could have been just generic bullies, but they gave them motivations, they gave them reasons to be angry, you know?
Mhm. Yeah,
They weren't just
yeah,
generic bullies,
yeah,
and
they
that's
really
I'll
did.
applaud them for that.
Yeah, they worked quite well for that, and it did work really well. And overall, it was just a great series, and there's not much we can really say. Like they brought in one of the biggest big bads to the X-Men politically anyway with that mayor. There's a lot actually, that's the thing. You talked about it that you felt that the series ran a little short. What did you want to see that could continue the series for you?
Well, some loose ends that were still left untied. For example, what's going to happen to. Um, oh, sorry, there was a bit of a echo there. So, Spike, I want to see what happened to him because clearly his arc is not done. Um,
Mhm.
I feel like as though. Oh, I forget her name again. Magneto's daughter.
Wanda?
Yeah, Wanda. I don't think it's fair that her memories of
You
Magneto
could tell you
stay.
could tell okay. Yeah, 1 second though. You can tell that we're a little bit, or we're a little bit actually having a little bit of a fun with that because like we don't watch the newer movies that often because he can't remember the name of Scarlet Witch,
No.
which is like a huge play. She's part of WandaVision, all that other stuff. But yeah, okay, go ahead.
So it's like they erased her memories of Magneto and what he did to her, so she's not angry at him anymore. I mean, that seemed abrupt. I was expecting her memories to come back and resume the anger and the feud that they had. Um,
Yeah, that is kind of interesting that she came out of the series in the end loving her father, which is an interesting idea to leave it like that. Like, I think that's actually dark, but I also like that because, like, can you think of a series that wouldn't do that? Like,
well, this is
her
the reason.
memories being. Go ahead.
This is the reason why I think the show was canceled rather than properly ended.
I still think the show properly ended the way it should have ended. Actually, from what I remember back in the day, I remember it was supposed to end like like in season 3, but they didn't have enough. They didn't have enough material. Like so, they just kind of finished off all the loose ends. But it was supposed to be done in season 3, but they got a season 4. So I remember hearing something that way back in the day. I could be wrong. Don't if you fact check me and I'm wrong, I apologize. But I vaguely remember someone saying something like that.
There was
So
also Storm's backstory. I mean, they could have brought that back, and maybe another season could have
yeah,
revisited that.
yeah, that was unresolved in a way. That was the only loose tie. It's like they could have kept going with that and had that like what's going on with that. They also could have introduced some other characters. This as a whole, I think was a decent idea. I like the idea that the Sentinel program is now active and now running amok. Now they do have something to fear because the Sentinel things there. They also had what's his face going for mayor. What if him going for mayor could have been something really important? Like this guy actually is going for mayor. Like he could have banned mutants from Bayville.
Yeah,
Like when all yeah they're because there were still kids in there's still ex kids there. Like because what ended up happening is that the X mansion in the series as a whole turned into a actual school. It wasn't just a place for gifted kids; it was a school for gifted kids. and a lot of the X-Men double time as both teachers and actual X-Men. So like Cyclops, Jean Grey, Storm, they all kind of took teaching degrees and actually work as both. Because, who's going to be able to know you better than a mutant and other mutants? There's actually apparently even humans that ended up like legit humans, because it's anybody can be there. You can just, even if you're gifted, you can go there. You don't have to be.
You mean not gifted?
It's not exclusive to mutants. Yeah, it's not exclusive to mutants. And
Uh,
overall, it is, like I said, when I watched the last episode, I was thinking to myself, this is the last, like, Buddy, the guy who passed away, one of the greater voice actors. And I thought about that in the back of my head. And it was just, it is kind of sad that this cartoon is so good, yet, I keep hearing people harping about the original cartoon and how good the original cartoon was. And I think the original cartoon's great, but to be kind of be that guy, I still think this is a little bit better
oh my
than
god,
the other
that's
stuff.
what I was gonna get to. The thing that's gonna get people to crucify me. I actually like this series a little more than the original.
Same here. I actually like this series a little bit more. I thought the drama was decent. I didn't think it was annoying like Riverdale. I didn't think it was annoying like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, where they kind of did that slice of life. And I think when the series started picking up and school started being a secondary point, not a first point, I think the series really started to improve. It was overall a good show. It was a good kids show. I think honestly, this is something, if I was to show kids this would be the X-Men show I'd show them. It's relatable, it's good, it's fun, it's enjoyable, and it's almost time. I hate to say it, even though it is very 90s sometimes, I feel that it's a little bit timeless. I think I could show that to a kid, and unless the like if you put little smart if you put little smartphones in the background, I think you pretty much that's kids of the generation, man. Like that, like it worked. It was perfect. I think it's a perfect cartoon. One of the better ones out there.
Yeah, I think so too. I think only the technology you see in it keeps it capsule of the late '90s, early 2000s. But apart from that, there's nothing in there that says that is not applicable to today.
Yeah, there's a lot of video games that do that great, where you would never know that this is timeless. Some stuff is timeless. You can actually get it timeless on a modern day show. Like, unlike some other shows where, dear God, they're of their era so much it's annoying. Like, some of the dialogue's also a little dated, but it's a great show.
Yeah, when was the last time you heard
Like
someone
I
say "tight" to describe something awesome? Yay, that's tight.
Yeah, I haven't heard that in a very long time, but maybe that should get brought back.
But no,
No,
go ahead.
I think it is a far better story. And I think the X-Men, as much as the X-Men series is good, I also think a lot of people have nostalgia goggles on.
I wouldn't
Like
go
I
that
even
far.
I got to admit, Thundercats, shows like Thundercats and other shows I watched when I was a kid that I thought was the greatest thing on the planet. There are times where those shows do make me go, oh, Robert Roberto. That's all I gotta say. Robert Roberto. It's just like, but this show, I feel like this is a solid show, and I feel that it's sad that not only, like I said, we could have got another season, but I'm so content to have what we had. I feel sad that we got what I feel sad that we got what we got, but at the same time, I'm happy how it concluded. I think it was a strong middle, strong beginning, strong end. Like the original Avatar, I think had a great middle, great beginning, great middle, and great end. I can't think of a single episode in Avatar, and that's kind of the same way. I feel that X-Men Evolution was one of those shows where you can watch it from start to finish, and really missing an episode. I even had that happen. I accidentally missed an episode. One of the episodes, I missed it. Accidentally skipped it because I guess I wasn't paying attention. And I went, oh shit, I skipped it. And I realized I remember an episode. So I went and looked and I went, oh yeah, I forgot this. And I had to rewatch it because I had actually realized, oh shit, you know? But that's the thing. I could remember like every episode was that good. Even the cheesy episode, the girl episode where all the girls are dressing up like the Bayville Sirens.
Oh
That's that episode.
yeah, yeah. Girl power. Don't treat us any different from guys. We are not there to be ogled at, yet they dance around.
They dress up super sexy and then have a sex and then grind against each other in the middle of a music store. That was interesting. That was Jesus fuck. That was a good episode. That actually still was a good episode. But that they have a grind again, and Amara is like pretty young compared to Jean, and Amara is grinding. She and Amara are grinding on each other.
Yeah, what is up with that?
That is okay. Bam Bam doing what she does. That's Bam Bam. Even Bam Bam. Actually, that's her costume at the end of the Apocalypse fight. Did you notice she's not wearing the X-Men costume? She's wearing her Bayville Siren costume.
I did not notice.
Yeah, that's her wearing her Bay because she's like, fuck you guys. I'm wearing my Bayville Sirens. Oh, they also introduced Bam Bam, which is one of my favorite. Which I wish she was in more X-Men content. I like her as a character. She's such a fucking wild card.
Well, careful what you wish for, because while this iteration may have been cool, who knows what some asshole will do in a future iteration to her.
Well, we won't worry about that, man. Like, I look at it like this. If you know what? I have this mentality when it comes to new stuff. Like, people be like, oh, well, if you don't like it, go back and read the old stuff. Oh, okay. Wait, we wanted your money. No, that's okay. I'm going to buy my old stuff. Fuck you. That's pretty much what I do.
Yeah.
Like I said, I haven't bought a new video game in quite some time. And I'm basically at this point looking for Japanese ROMs of like Japanese English dubs that didn't exist for video games. So that's my game plan for the rest of my existence. Screw that crap. I'm just gonna keep watching the old stuff. If they're gonna ruin something or make a character like turn Bam Bam into this like character where she's like a complete horrible woman, like that's the thing. Bam Bam is an amazing character because she's such a fun character. I enjoyed her. The entire thing about her, I loved her as she's like she's my favorite out of the series of the female character. Wolverine, then followed by Colossus, because Colossus actually I really didn't like him as a character. He just generally seemed like a badass or someone that was trying to be a nice guy.
You mean the
and he
guy?
Did have a way. Yeah, he did. I thought he did a good job with him for villains. I liked Lance. As much as Lance is a dick, I liked him as a character. There's like a lot of characters in this I really do like. I liked Amara because Amara was kind of, you could tell she was trying to do something. Like they were doing stuff with a lot of the characters that really never get light. Like when is Berserker a character that very few people even know exists? Like this was the anime. This is the anime. The show I remember Berserker in. This was the show where I'm like, yeah, there's Berserker, cool.
So, as someone who doesn't really read the comics or doesn't follow X-Men, a lot of these characters are very new to me. But the only thing I will say the original series did definitely better was Gambit. That's just my opinion. This Gambit was... Sorry, the original was just much better, and they didn't... I don't feel like they did with him as well as they could have.
I agree, although I do like him walking into an area and his eyes glowing red as he walked in. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
Overall, Gambit was class. I think overall, yeah, there are characters we can pick apart, like Gambit. I would say Magneto's a little bit of a dink. It really did seem like Magneto was just kind of stupid. It's like all that power and he doesn't know how to it seems like he was overly abusing it.
So another
And
thing
he
that I
got
felt
or,
could have been expanded more, or because of the abrupt ending, is the relationship between Nightcrawler, Rogue, and Mystique. You know that they they started something, and I feel like it was they didn't take
I
it all the
think
way as they would have liked. It was left very
I
unresolved.
I think they really did, and I think they ended it good. I think I don't know. I think they ended it in a way where they both just basically, at that point, they're happy Mystique's alive, but they're done. Like they feel like they've been constantly used by Mystique, so it just kind of like ended where we don't know what Mystique's going to do. We get the vibe that a
Exactly.
lot of characters are. Well, I do like the fact that Jean's boyfriend got his comeuppance in the end because he was such a douche.
Typical what? What do you call them? High school
Jock.
football jock dickhead. Yeah, I'm gonna say this right
No,
now. If
had
I was
one
in high
stuff.
school in America,
Yeah.
and the star football player had problems with me, I wouldn't hesitate to break his nose. Yeah, yeah, I'm saying
Yeah.
that. I'm going. Yeah, because
Yeah, yeah. No, no. You know what? I gotta say this about the character. Lance was. I don't know if Lance actually is like part of the comic series at all. If he actually has a different portrayal. If he's actually if they're building him up to being part of the other Brotherhood, because the Brotherhood. There's the Brotherhood, and then there's the Brotherhood of Humanity, and the BOH, I believe they're called. They got changed to the Purifiers. Maybe that's the character from that, but he I think he was kind of a dick. Like I don't know why Gene had anything for him. Like he was kind of a dick, and then it kind of built to him being a bigger dick, and then by the end of the series, he's a psycho. He's like a freaking lunatic. Like he bloody freaking throwing dynamite down into sewers. Like that's brutal. And using laser weapons to attack mutants. It's like Jesus hell, you know. At the end of that series, he deserves everything he gets. And I do like the fact that the police arrested him. Like it wasn't just an instant let go type of thing. The only thing I kind of wish they would have resolved or kind of did something with that poison stuff that they made. Because in one of the episodes introducing the Morlocks, they have this energy drink that's actually lethal to mutants,
yeah, that's
and
the other
that
thing I wanted
never
to
gets.
bring up. They never
Yeah.
went anywhere with that because the guy at the end, while in front of Xavier, he was like, "Oh my god, I didn't know this was harmful to mutants. I really didn't know," and somehow Xavier believed him. The guy who reads minds believed him, only to later be like, "Well, so it harms mutants. So something's going on." Like, how did Professor not read that guy's mind?
I think they dropped that plot point because of that. Because you can actually, why would Xavier not be like, yeah, I'm gonna mind erase everything from you, and you're not gonna remember that at all, and that's gonna be like dropped on the market.
Well, to be honest, I think he has to be present and know what happened himself to be able to erase it. Otherwise, if he was not present to have the memory, then he wouldn't know what to erase. That's my theory on how it works.
No, I don't know. It was interesting how they did that, and it was interesting to see like they did finally they actually showed a glimmer of Phoenix at the end of the series, but they actually showed Jean using her full psychic powers against Professor Xavier. Also, I also feel like the guy who's supposed to be the strongest telepathic or psychic gets his ass kicked by a lot of people in this series.
Oh man.
Like he does. If you actually think about it, this is supposed to be a guy that actually is has a very powerful psychic. Yeah, I know Apocalypse is tough, but like Apocalypse is very powerful, but this is a guy that's supposed to be the most powerful psychic. I always feel like they underestimate that power. Like I know he holds back a lot, but like I feel like they could have done something more. it just the series itself has its flaws. This is why I gave it an 8.
Yeah.
But I also think the original X-Men cartoon also pretty much deserves to be close to that. I would almost say it's just a little bit better. Like if we were to give both a series, I would say X-Men the X-Men cartoon went a little bit long. The original cartoon went a little bit too long. Where this one I feel like ended sweet. It's bittersweet.
I think the original cartoon wasn't very good with comedy, and it did not really show us what normal life would be like for mutants. I mean, they didn't have episodes dedicated to that. They had like moments in the show, but it was nice to see episodes dedicated to it so they could be more thorough in that exploration. And I
Yeah,
think
this
that
was done right because other shows. Yeah, you are right. Yeah, yeah. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
yeah, that was my point. It's just this show had
Okay.
used the time to be like, you know what? Let's use an episode or these episodes to explore this part of their life instead of focusing so much on the action.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think this show did it right. We have seen shows that haven't done it right. Justice League. Oh yes, the Justice League of America live action. Oh my goodness. Jesus fuck, was that awful?
I wouldn't know anything about that. I didn't watch it, and I don't care to.
You didn't watch? Don't. I might use that as a future thing. The pain game. When we do our pain gain episodes later on. Jesus, frick, that was awful. Oh, Jesus, no, no, no. It just that is the pilot itself is god awful, and I don't even think it got past like one episode. That's how bad it was.
It just reminded me when Xavier met Apocalypse in
Uh,
the episode before the last, and they were dialoguing. Oh my god! I noticed immediately David Kay was doing the voice of Apocalypse, and he also does the voice of Xavier. So he's like
yeah.
communicating with himself. It felt like, let me think of a character. Imagine,
I wonder if they did that on purpose because he doesn't really talk that often, and it would have been kind of interesting if they actually did it in a different light. Like they actually did that
well, he changed
for
his
the
voice
series.
enough to be different, but if you know the voice actors, you can point out where their voices are. I mean, it's like David Kay for Xavier was doing his normal voice, but with
Mhm.
uh, Apocalypse, he was doing his Beast Wars Megatron slash Unicron trilogy Megatron voice. Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
you're such an idiot, Dinobot. Courageous, but stupid. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a good series. I really do think that it. Yeah, I can't nothing but I've been pretty much gushing over the whole thing, this whole spoilers here part. But yeah, it was really well done.
Let
So
me.
anything you want to add to touch this up there, good sir?
Well,
Anything you want
there's
to
so
put?
much I can say. I mean, what I want to praise the most is Scott McNeil as Wolverine. I mean, that was the best cast character in the whole series.
I disagree with you. I think Wolverine was okay. Again, that's your fan favorite. I think there were so many characters in this that were introduced that were just well done.
Well, that's another thing. Even though
And
Wolverine is my favorite character among all the groups, the whole entire group, it doesn't bother
mhm,
me that he was kind of like sidelined to secondary status because the other characters were
mhm,
also very good. I mean, the original series, I mean, from my memory, Wolverine always took the spotlight in every episode, in practically every episode. Like he was either a secondary or like he was very prominent. This series, he like stepped down, let the others have their moment to shine. And when he did take the spotlight to shine, he was awesome. So he was sparingly
he
used
was
in a
awesome.
good way.
Yeah, I think Beast had a great storyline for it. I
Yeah.
also like the fact that they did an episode with the Legacy X Men group,
Uh,
and they have Bobby Iceman. okay, they had Angel, Cyclops, Beast, and Jean Grey, and I believe they had like the whole group of that's like the original X-Men from the original series, like from the original comics, and Bobby actually says to them, he's like, yeah, this is definitely the best team. Because that's basically the original X-Men group, and they technically lose, but it's still kind of funny to hear him say that and to see Bobby actually make a point.
I really liked Brad Swaley as Nightcrawler. He has a
Mm-hmm.
distinct voice. You might know him as Catra from Gundam Wing or Amuro from original Gundam, Rock from Black Lagoon, and Light Yagami from Death Note. That guy, as
Mm-hmm.
usual, brings 120%. Kirby Morrow as Cyclops. When I first heard that, it was a very unusual choice for me. Like, really, Kirby as Cyclops? But as I watched the show and realized they are younger versions, and it fit perfectly.
Yeah, I think it was a good. Yeah, I think that was just a good part of it. They really did. They really did have a good thing. I don't think this had toys. I can't remember ever seeing any. I think I saw a die cast. Someone actually made his own copy of Magma, but I can't remember anybody making a toy for this show.
If there are any figurines for this, please, someone put links for us to buy. I would definitely get them.
Yeah, yeah. I could. I don't plan on picking up anything. Like I'm pretty much done after my. I'm pretty much my collection's almost done at this point, but I don't have enough room. I'm running out of room unless I want to start putting shelves on a rented apartment. So I can't do that. So yeah, no. Overall, just a sheer perfect show. Almost like an eight. Very few shows get an eight, in my opinion. So
Well,
I rarely give well, and even less that are cartoons. Like as of lately, don't get an eight.
okay, I'll give it an 8 in terms of
No,
plot and
you want to give it a
enjoyment,
nine.
but I'm giving it a
You
9
want to
in
give it
terms
a
of
nine.
enjoyment factor.
Oh yeah, you enjoyed it thoroughly, man. It's a solid nine. I think it's a great show, and I think more and more shows like need to be out here like this. I think this. We really do need a good cartoon, like a really really good cartoon.
We need a bunch
We
of good
haven't had a good
cartoons.
Marvel cartoon in a long time.
I am so sick of
I
modern
know.
cartoons having their lazy art styles. I mean, I don't understand why crap like. Should I
Or
mention stuff by name?
yeah, yeah. No, no, don't. Just let's leave all that alone. Let's not touch that for 10 foot pole. But I'm saying that we need better cartoons. Like America, get on it. This was awesome, and like we've had a few, but I think we need 50 more. We need 100 more because anime is blowing American cartoons out of the water, just completely annihilating them. At this point, I'm more interested in what's coming out for anime than I am for cartoons. Like if a cartoon comes out that's interesting, I'm like, okay, And I'm kind of getting sick and tired of seeing CG because now a lot of American cartoons go the CG route because it's even cheaper.
When
I
you
want to
say
see a good hand drawn cartoon.
when you say CG, does that also include flash animation?
Yeah, pretty much. I can think of some adult cartoons that are still kicking ass, but I want to see a kids show that's decent. Like I can think of three or four, but I still think the storylines weren't as solid as this show. This show was just a solid cartoon.
Guys, to any animators, just because South Park can get away with cheap animation doesn't mean anything else can.
Yeah, we all have some of us have some real problems with what's come out with the in the cartoon verse. I personally think this show shows that American cartoons can be done and done right. I think we need more like this. I think like I miss shows like this, and I think this and Static Shock were two amazing shows that came out in the 2000s. and I think they were very well done.
I miss the days
Let,
when when Western cartoons weren't afraid to draw human characters look like people, not some bastardized. I don't use the word
yeah,
chibi, but whatever the
yeah,
American equivalent of that is.
yeah. So, in closing, man, what's your thought? What's your final thoughts on X-Men Evolution, the spoiler fit?
Well, I think this show, as you said, is very solid, and you know it's not fair to compare to the original series. I mean, whether you like the original series or not, this one is also a solid show. And in my honest opinion, as someone who doesn't have um, this strong connection to the property, I found myself enjoying this series a little bit more. That's not to say I hate or dislike or have so many issues with the original series, but something about this one was more charming.
I agree. I agree. I found the original X-Men show good, but it had a lot of issues. And unfortunately, that was because of a lot of the background crap that was going on. Because there was a lot of drama going on in the show, especially in later seasons, that clearly show.
Yeah.
So I think they did a great job. I think this was a great show. Warner Brothers was the animators, I believe, for this originally,
Yeah, better than
and
ACOM. ACOM.
yeah, yeah, we all agree on that one.
Yeah, ACOM.
So
You know what? ACOM.
what about
You guys
anybody
still
else?
suck for your finale of the original Transformers. Why didn't
I
fucking Hasbro
kind of
or
agree.
and what's it called, Sunbow? Why didn't you get Toei to do it? It would have been so much better.
Okay, yeah, we're getting a little off topic, so we're going to end her here.
Okie dokie.
We are going to definitely talk about Transformers eventually. I just don't know which series we're going to eventually do, but I do want to gush over Transformers
I
because
have
there's a lot of, yeah.
I have a series we can talk about in which this is series can be described as the Transformers equivalent to the Forgotten Middle Child. The
I
2001
would
series Robots in Disguise.
we could. That's actually not a bad idea, but what's coming up next for us guys, if you like Wolverine and you didn't get enough Wolverine X-Men Evolution, well, Wolverine the X-Men is next. Wolverine has been like in this series, he kind of proves himself to be a wartime general, and this is where you actually get to see him as a wartime general. And it's not that bad. They did a good job. And we're going to be talking about that and give it a full breakdown. There were 2 seasons, but we're not going to do the same with X-Men Evolution. We're just going to do a one big hop in the spoiler. And then we're moving on to X-Men the anime.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, yeah, I shudder to think about that. So that is our complete, pretty much breakdown of X-Men Evolution as a whole. This is no one else has done that. This is everything. It's from start to finish, every episode, every season. We've pretty much broke down almost in this little spoiler hit. We've kind of hit all the highlights and did kind of a whole spoiler hit of the whole series. And I hope you guys enjoyed our content. Like, subscribe, catch Dark Shotgun and his stuff. He does quite a few stuff. Every once in a while, he does live streams on Twitch. And we are going to see you guys on the flip side. Have a very good day, guys.
See us.